Hey everyone, it's me Doomlink, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. It is the 5th of September 2021 as I'm recording this, and we are continuing with what we're doing, which is working towards Hunter Rank 999. Who knows how long it'll take for me to get to that point where I'm at 999, but I will of course be taking a break from the game once I get to that point, because I don't really want to be playing only this game. You know, this is where the audience is, I suppose, but what fucking audience? At the end of the day. Most of them don't even talk. So, too bad. I'll move on to other Monster Hunter games after this. That'll do it for me. Alrighty, hello Vernon. Good to see you. I will see what the community has for me. Yeah, getting there. This is the only time, I suppose in Try I was working towards a higher Hunter rank for a period of time, doing cluster runs with the Latrion, but aside from that, this is the only time I've well and truly buckled down and worked towards boosting my Hunter rank. It wasn't until I reached maybe 860, 870 that I actually started to care about raising my Hunter rank in this game. Once I reached 900, that was it. I needed to get to 999 as soon as possible. So, yeah, that's the reality. Because once you're there, once you're at 900, it doesn't feel like 999's all that far away, and it's not. So, one of the main reasons why my Hunter rank increased so much over such a short period of time was because I basically, you know, I wouldn't say boosted, but I hunted with 2 people from scratch and brought them up to endgame G rank. You know, that was probably 400 Hunter ranks on its own, doing that with those 2. So, yeah. Well, technically 3 people I did that for. 3 people. So. And it would be 4 if we include Ethan. So that's not even including Ethan. So there you go. These guys are doing drill task. I hope that it's going to be a G rank drill task. I think I'm safe in assuming that, given their Hunter ranks, but you never know. That's fine, Vernon. I'm not going to be making my own room today. I don't really plan on doing that. The reality is that when I don't mind making my own room and hunting with you guys, but the problem is that if there's a rotation of quests that I'm not happy with, I'm sort of married to it. I'm stuck. You see, like, that's not to say that I don't want to be of assistance to you when you join the room and post your own quests, but it is to say that there's a certain freedom associated with being able to leave a room as soon as I want to, when I'm just joining random rooms. So, like, if, you know, if they're doing quests that I don't want, I'll find something else, and there's a freedom to that. But if I'm stuck in my own room, it's not as... it's often fun, but not always. Yeah, these guys are doing high rank anyway. Dealer has left, and I shall do the same. I wouldn't say that I helped Phantom through much of the game. It's not comparable, at least, to the work that I did for the people that I've mentioned. You know, the 3 people that I have in mind, I literally took from low rank to endgame G rank. I took them through the whole game. I still wouldn't call it carrying them, because the thing is, to carry someone is to just, without due care, bringing them into the end game, but I would say that rather than carry them, I sort of mentored them through the process. I gave rather in-depth explanations of everything I could about Monster Hunter, and so they were in good stead to perform well once they got to endgame G rank, even though they did get through it faster than your average person, precisely because they had me helping them the whole way through. But it was still a fairly comprehensive process in terms of learning and in terms of, I suppose, developing skills in the game and knowledge in the game. You see, at times you will see people who clearly have been carried, they're at hunter rank 100 plus and they just, you know, they're literally sitting there with high rank armor. It happens. I mean, that sounds like a ridiculous extreme case scenario, but it's not. Like, I've seen that a few times, and you've seen that on camera here. It's not that uncommon. Those are people who are being carried, and it's dumb. I think something wicked is, whatever. Again, I need to reload these searches if I have been sitting here for a while not checking the search results. I don't want to do Fatalis. Well, this is Gore Magala. We'll do this, I don't mind. But yeah, that was boosting my HR. But why are you people allergic to waiting? You're clearly allergic to waiting. I understand why you don't feel the need to do so. It is just a standard Gore Magala. But seriously, I am getting the shit end of the stick here, as you can clearly understand. Hunter Spain. I think he's from Spain. It's just a stab in the dark, but I could be right about that. Yeah, that bird up guy. He really was a fool. He had a lot of things wrong with him though. Why? Seriously, I mean, I don't ask for much, but if the HR minimum is 100, I'm not really expecting basic high rank quests on the board. Like, this isn't even high rank hyper, man. And yet you're going to set the HR minimum to... Oh, well, admittedly, well, he quite realised that I wasn't going to join his quest, which is fine. But I will amend what I said to... I will withdraw what I said for the reason that he wasn't the one who made the room. He's the host as player 2, so fair enough. But still, that's not what I was expecting. There's a turns room with these people. Yeah, the way Vernon tells the story is basically accurate. He disconnected from an adult car hunt, and I didn't want to do it twice in a row because I was only going to do one more hunt for that stream, and he told me to fuck off and he left. Well, actually, I think he said, go fuck yourself, is what he said. We've got Legolas and Tiliana. Or Tiliana, I suppose, is how I would pronounce that, given the double N, or maybe that wouldn't make a difference, I don't know. But, yeah, hellos, or hi, says Legolas, I shall say hi in return. I don't like the rainbow, or we could say the varicolored. What's it called again? Can't think of the word. You know how you can change the color of your fucking armor? Pigment, I think it's called pigment. I will check that. Armor pigment, I think it's called. I haven't changed it in so long. Haven't edited that sort of thing in so long that I had forgotten what it was called. Yes, armor pigment. The varicolored armor pigment. I don't see why you would use it in this game because it doesn't really... It's just given to you automatically. Whereas in 4 Ultimate, for example, you had to do all of the low rank quests to get it. It was basically the pigment version of the Hayabusa feather. So wearing or using it, in 4 Ultimate at least, was worthwhile because it was sort of an indication of you having achieved something, whereas that pigment in this game is just given to you, and quite frankly, it doesn't look good enough to just use it purely on the basis of its appearance. Some think it looks like complete shit, and I think it's kind of gaudy and unattractive as well. So, it's fine in 4 Ultimate because it's associated with some sort of achievement, but in this game, no, it's in the games. It's like it at least goes back to 2nd gen, but I can't remember how to get it in those games. It's probably similar, probably like all low rank quests or something, likely associated with a guild card achievement of some kind. Hey, Ron Money. What was on the board again? EX Bolt Reaver. Here's my EX loadout. Possibly boring to you, but I'd rather use the same thing than run the risk of failure, quite frankly. That's the reality of it. Because I don't want to go in there with any doubts as to whether or not I'm going to survive. Because it could very well be the case that someone else is guaranteed to die. You know, the idea being at least ensure that you're fine. And you've got better chances of succeeding in the quest, because you don't know who the hell you're going into the quest with ultimately. They could be entirely incompetent. I'm not getting Unlucky Cat for this quest, I could not be bothered. I understand that you're walking around in a circle because I'm taking too long to get ready, but you're going to have to forgive me. I want to see if I can get exchanged with a decent skill, and it turns out that I can't, so I will go Defender High, Sharpshooter, sure. I'm not going to be shooting normal shots, but that's fine. Yes, I know all about it. This Legolas guy, I'm not very impressed that he's hosting the quest because my connection to him is truly terrible. He's glitching all over the fucking place. What's the point of naming your character Legolas and then you use something other than a bow? It is true. Oops. And Demon Affinity. Sorry, I'm dragging my ass. This guy here needs to line up for the buff. He doesn't have a buff, does he? Oh, he does. Okay, well, as you do. I didn't know Orcus Quarkus had a buff, mostly because Orcus Quarkus users aren't so strategic that they buff the team before the start of the fight. Look at this connection. Look at him. Oh my god. That's connection based, I'm telling you. Oh my god. You want to know why I haven't reloaded? It's because I was waiting to do the adept roll on the Raw, but it took like 10 seconds for him to move and do something. Oh my god, this is going to be a challenging hunt, guys. I should know better than to depart on a quest with a person who was hosting it and was clearly glitching that much in the room. If they're glitching that much in the room, then it doesn't bode well for the hunt within. Bet he's Mexican? Could be. I would assume he's from Europe. That's usually where I have the worst connection to people. Legolas has fainted. Well, I'm sorry to see that. Trying to get the head here. Obviously. Just in case you didn't know. Now, the reason why I did not see that coming is because that attack looked like it was being directed at a completely different person. But when he slammed his wing down, his body snapped in my direction. The very same moment he slammed his wing down, his body snapped in my direction. It did not look like it was coming my way. I will not use Max Potion. We're probably going to fail this quest. And if I'm being one-shot anyway, it's not a big deal, so... yeah, I don't think this was a great idea, overall. Okay, I'll use a Max Potion. You never know, we might succeed, but I don't think we will. No. Yeah, well there you go. See, I shouldn't have used the Max Potion, that was a stupid idea. I will leave this room not necessarily because I find the team to be bad, but I particularly don't want to be dealing with this connection issue. That's ridiculous. So yeah, that didn't really work out in my favor. I don't know if the way in which I received that attack was down to network instability or just the way in which that monster moves. It looked like he was well and truly facing in a different direction. And then he suddenly snapped onto me when he performed the attack. So I was damn sure it was aimed at someone else other than myself. That was not the case. Yeah, that quest was over very quickly. I don't really regret having contributed to the deaths because, quite frankly, that was outside of my control. I would not have known to roll, despite the fact that the attack, as far as I was concerned, was clearly not aimed at me. Another Snow Baron. This is not the... Oh, what's going on? Look, I know you think that you should... You know what I love? Look at him. Look at how he just stands there. Okay, well, never mind. I was looking at the wrong person. I thought Daz was the person who posted the quests, who wasn't the host. He was clearly kicked, and good. I'm glad that he was. Because you should immediately take your quest off the board if the host has already posted a quest. I mean, I can understand that you might have thought that the host didn't want to post, so you went and posted your own thing, but you would very quickly take it off the board after that. He did not, and he was kicked for that reason. Snow Baron. Let's go Longsword, I guess. No, I'll go Dual Blades. I can assume that he's weak to fire, primarily. I don't know if I have armor to... Oh, look, he's back! I'm just going to assume that you will be automatically kicked a second time. Oh, no, he's returned in a rather obsequious fashion, joining up on the quest and obviously praying that he's not kicked again. Okay, what was I doing? I was checking to see if I had Snow Baron armor to check the weakness. I'm assuming it's fire, yeah. You never know, they could have changed it up, could have done something weird. Hello, Pablo. Yes, it is morning for me. Quite right. A guild card has arrived from Daz. Thanks, Daz. Much appreciated. Oh, this is the one thing. Does anyone have... Yes. Good to see. Nice work, Daz, on the insurance. That leaves me to look for Exchanger. Much appreciated. I will take the one with Unlucky Cat if I can't get anything better. There's another guild card. Try and go through this as fast as possible. Longer setup times for quests these days because I am going through all food, but yeah. Can I get Ice Res? Yes, Ice Res, there you go. That's what we want. And Gourmet Voucher, thank you very much. I'm not going to get Unlucky Cat just to not get Exchanger. Could you imagine that? That would be beyond not okay. Am I ready to go? I think so. A bit concerned about my defense. This is a G4 Deviant and I'm sitting on 751 defense. Obviously the solution there is to not get hit. Hello, down with the system. I suppose you've appeared once before, although... Or have you? Maybe I missed your first... No, I did miss your first message. You have no idea where it's morning. It's morning in the east. So, Japan, Australia, those are your major countries. I have basically the same time zone as Japan. Japan's an hour behind me. Annoyingly, I've started a camp that is the worst place to be on this map. It feels like such a journey to get to the top, but admittedly that has more to do with the fact that I'm used to playing on this map in second generation where you did have to very slowly climb to the top, whereas you climb things very quickly and automatically in fourth generation. I will actually just use regular potions to heal, by the way. I practically wasted a max potion during the previous EX Bolt Reaver hunt, so I'm not going to be using that, and I don't want to waste mega potions, so I'll just use regular potions. That'll do it for me. Hello, Wonderlord, and thank you for the follow 9 hours ago. I suppose you found a VOD on YouTube or something like that? Because I don't believe I was live when you did follow. Although no, I couldn't have been. No way. No way. Because I think I was live 13 hours ago. Not 9 hours ago. Well, don't just stand there, Daz, please, for the love of God, man. It's like he doesn't even run. You do realize you can hold the R button to run, but even having said that, you'd be a whole lot better off turning on the spot. You would literally remove this blight in seconds. Check this out, man. Done. Almost no need for cleansers even. But instead, he wasn't even running to get out of the way of the monster. It's like he wanted the monster to hit him out of it. Which is fine, but you're not really contributing to the group by basically asking for the monster to hit you out of something that you can break free of yourself. But yeah, I do have to be careful with how I'm hunting here. I don't have good defense for a G4. Or a G5 for that matter, but G4 as well. God, you're worse than Freedom Unite or Carlos with this fucking Ice Blight. Oh, well, thank you. I do take responsibility for my own Ice Blight, but if someone else wants to break it or have me broken free of it, I can't speak. But the point is that if they're gonna remove my Ice Blight for me, then that's fine. If there's one thing that PS Gunners do well, it's hitting their teammates with their ammunition. I will say that much. Look at that Ice Blight on my fucking stamina. This isn't a great place to be hunting Snow Baron, like in this corridor. The ideal thing to do is to bring him into this area, but I was a bit too lazy to bother doing that this time. Depending on the hunt, I will do that. I will bring the monster into this wider area. That is the smart thing to do. So I'm going to try and not chase him into there, and that was a sensible thing to do anyway. That's good to hear, Wonderlord. I'm glad you're enjoying them, evidently. Can you stop with this upswing? Vernon was talking about it before. Look at him go! He's not even charging his fucking weapon, and he chooses to not only do less damage, but fuck me up as well. Have some decency, man. Look at him go. Combo greatsword. Punch rank 136 or whatever. Daz again being as... I mean, even Eldon, this guy with his combo greatsword business knows how to get out of Ice Blight himself, whereas this Daz guy is literally stuck in place for God knows how long. I don't know how long it takes for Ice Blight to just remove itself. Probably like 15 seconds or something like that. Oh, okay. I was going to sharpen, but I'd better be taking advantage of theirs. Got Wolf's Maw. Ugh! Couldn't get out of the way in time. It's still stuck in the vulnerability period of my prior animation. I didn't really intend to leave the area, but whatever is necessary. Yeah, the upswing really isn't worth doing. It's not that good of an attack. I believe it technically does more damage than just pressing circle. It's fine to do the upswing if you're solo and you want to continue the combo. It does more damage, I believe, than just pressing A, and by doing the slap, which would be X. If you're ever confused by the fact that I go back and forth between, you know, the PlayStation buttons and the Nintendo buttons when describing attacks, you're just gonna have to live with that. I'm using a PS3 controller, and at the end of the day, I do consider Monster Hunter to be a Sony game. But yeah. That is a dead snow baron. Reasonably well done. I mean, the play was far from impressive from at least 2 of the 4 people here, but we got it done. That's what's important. I'm not going to stop playing this game entirely when I hit 999, Wonderlord. I will continue playing it, just not as frequently as I am now. I'll be playing a bit of 3 Ultimate, because the thing is, when I hit 999, I will want to enjoy playing the game as a Hunter Rank 999 person. I'm not going to hit 999 and then be like, oh well, now I have nothing to do. Because I get enjoyment from just playing the game, that's the reality. So, I don't necessarily need that kind of objective to enjoy myself, but I will, due to the lack of an objective, feel less inclined to play it often, but I will play it, most assuredly. Ron, do you mean as far as, like, referring to Gen 1, you mean talking about the upswing in terms of damage? Upswing's very good in first gen for damage, but even first gen players take issue with greatsword users who upswing in that game. Because at the end of the day, it does fuck up the DPS of the team. But you have more of an excuse to use the upswing in first gen, because it really is one of the more damaging attacks. It is the second most damaging attack. There are literally only 3 attacks you can do with the greatsword in first gen, and that upswing is one of 3 and is the second most damaging, so yeah. Obviously the overhead swing is the most damaging. Triumphant Rage. Why do you... I mean, he's gone. He really needs to learn. You watch, he will come crawling back. Like the vermin he is. There's no guarantee I'm going to stick around. If you don't want to play League, then don't play it. I don't think I've ever met a League of Legends player that didn't hate the fucking game. Or at the very least, find themselves filled with rage every time they played it, and then also expressed it. Look at him go! He must think that he's got network instability, and he's not being kicked, the poor bastard. Oh my god. Take a hint, you fool. It happened last time you posted, didn't it? How about you learn? Put it away. That quest you've got on the board, put it away. Thank you. How explicit does one need to be to inform you of the protocol? And you've been kicked, thank God for that. You don't deserve to be in the room, you're ignorant. That is the beginning and the end of it. I don't know what's been posted now that I think about it, I'd better go and check. Thank God, someone else joined. Bloodbath G3. Well, I can do that, but it's a bit rough. I suppose I'll use Adept. Well, I don't have to use Adept Pierce, I can use my Heavy Pierce loadout. Let's do that. You've seen enough of my Adept Light Bowgun. Seriously. And I've seen enough of it too, quite frankly. That'll do it for me. Daz is using a Seregios weapon. What is this for ultimate? Oh. The joke being, of course, that strangely, and I was talking about this maybe not in the last recording, but the recording before, it's hard to remember because I've done a lot of recordings in a short space of time, but I was talking about how the Seregios weapons are no more or less effective in this game, and yet you never see them. But in 4 Ultimate, they were ubiquitous. You would see everyone using Seregio's weapons. Like, sort of like how in 3 Ultimate, if you weren't dealing elemental damage, you had a Brachydios weapon. That's how it was in 4 Ultimate with Seregio's weapons. Everyone was walking around with Seregio's weapon if they were dealing raw damage. Admittedly, you got more mileage out of a Seregio's weapon in that game for the reason that you could... can't remember what it was called. Basically, you could empower weapons in the endgame by infusing them with Zenith Wyvern gems, I think they were called. It's honing, that's what it was called. So you could hone your weapon with further damage to make it stronger. So in other words, you could technically get a stronger Seregio's weapon in that game as compared to this game, but still, you just don't see the weapons here. And plenty of people used Seregio's weapons without an attack hone. So, yeah, I'm going to give myself some kind of skill that will... There we go, Moxie. I don't really need Combiner, but I'll take this. So that's Defense Large and Moxie, which should help me in some way. I use Guild Style because I want to experience standard Monstander. The problem with styles for me is that you almost have to relearn the weapons. I'm not in the business of relearning how to use a weapon that I have become so used to using in a particular way. When I played this game, I wanted to experience it as sort of a continuation of my 4 Ultimate experience. I have no desire to fly around in the air, or shake a barrel around, or run around with, or rather counter on the spot with some weird blue effect. I have no desire to do that. I will use Adept occasionally because for the most part it doesn't change the moveset of the weapon. But yeah, that's not necessarily to say that I'm this incorrigible purist when it comes to Monstander, like completely unchanging, implacable. I must play in this way and I will never change that. It sort of is that, but it's not. I think of it in a different sort of way. I'm here to experience a Monstander game, and it becomes less like Monstander if... Oh, that's right. You start here. It becomes less Monstander for me if I'm changing the way that I'm playing, or changing the way in which I have identified to be the standard way of playing Monstander. Everyone's got their own viewpoint, and that's mine. So that's why I use Guild Style. I don't even consider it to be a style, I consider it to be non-style. And I don't... To me, it's the natural way of playing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to use Guild Style today. It's more like, I'm just going to play Monstander like normal. And I would encourage any person who starts in this game to learn how to use a weapon in the Guild Style first, before venturing into other styles, because the thing with styles is that it's a fucking gimmick. That's what it is. It's not going to carry over into other Monstander games. So if you want to learn how to use a weapon, and this is your first Monstander game, stay away from styles at first. You don't have to be like me and stay away from styles entirely, but at least learn the weapon in the proper way first. That would be my personal recommendation, but I don't have control over how people enjoy the game, so if you want to be in the position of having to unlearn the way in which you find comfortable to use the weapon because you've gotten used to using it with a particular style in this game, and then you move over to another game, then, I don't know, I warned you, I guess. But seriously. When you've played like almost every Monstander game that came before this one, if you're in my position, you don't really play with intention. You play very much subconsciously. You know what you're doing with your hands when you're using a weapon. So I'm not going to suddenly change that. That's uncomfortable for me. I'm a very casual player in Monstander these days, and most of my hunts are just sit back, relax, and if things get difficult, then switch on at that point, but otherwise just relax. And I can't really relax if I'm having to relearn how I use a weapon. I find that to be annoying more than anything else. So, there you go. Let's not talk about 5th gen in general, is what I would say. I have nothing to add when it comes to 5th generation. I believe there is... Yes, there he is. I'll paintball you. There's a good flash, but I'm a bit concerned about having to deal with both of them. I don't have dung bombs on hand. Just keeping an eye on my chroma key. Don't go fighting that. You see, this is exactly what happens when you paint, or rather dung bomb the one that enters the area last. There is a chance that Bloodbath will move into the same area that regular Diablos is in now. It's not guaranteed, but it can happen, and that's what happens when you dung bomb the one that comes last. In other words, the one that was originally in the area is likely to leave on their own, regardless. So, the best thing to do is dung bomb the one that's been in the area the longest, but no one ever does that. I don't really consider difficulty factor to be important in Monster Hunter. It's not about difficulty, it's about intricacy. The systematic simplification of Monster Hunter that took place in 5th generation for the benefit of mainstream gamers is something that I don't appreciate. Case in point, ladies and gentlemen, do not dung bomb the monster that enters last. It is actually illogical. But everyone does it. Anyway. I'd be perfectly fine if this circumstance was enough to teach a person not to do that, but it doesn't. It never does. Very rarely does an experience like this again. Look. But regardless, very rarely do people learn from their mistakes in this community. It's really... And again, that's not about putting myself on a pedestal, it's about putting a generality of people in the community down. I don't consider myself to be particularly good at Monster Hunter. I consider myself to be fairly casual, and I don't put too much effort into it, but when I see common ignorance being displayed, yeah, I'm going to take an issue with it community-wide. I've watched Monster Hunter players in every generation of Monster Hunter make the same mistakes over and over and over again, multiple times in one hunt, and still cannot learn how to do it right. Unfortunately there, I should have actually gone into the exit, into the next area, but oh well. The way other people play generally doesn't affect me either. The thing is, I'm not very critical of how other people play. I actually don't care, for the most part. I think Monster Hunter is a very personal experience, and everyone has to learn at their own pace, absolutely. But because it is a team-based game, sometimes... Look, again, the same situation happened twice. The monster that comes last is dung-bombed, and then the first monster to enter the area leaves on their own, and then the dung-bombed monster, because it's dunged, leaves earlier than it otherwise would, and then they end up in the same area. Has the person learnt their lesson now? After making the same mistake not once but twice? Probably not. I'm probably going to enter this area, and Bloodbath will be dunged. What am I looking at? No one's dunged. Well, you could also give up on dung bombing entirely. Anyway, what I was saying was that sometimes your mistakes, your learning in the game, can result in a negative experience for everyone else. So that is when I start to take issue with, you know, the way people are playing. If it doesn't affect me personally, then I don't care how they play, honestly. But let's say, for example, you have a person whose style of play is going to constantly trip you up, and they make no attempts to adjust the way in which they play the game. I'm not going to be sitting there saying, oh, it's no problem, he's still learning how to play the game, he needs to learn at his own pace, etc., etc. In actual fact, the guy's an idiot. And the reason why is because you can observe that what you're doing is messing up a teammate, which immediately requires a change of strategy. You don't need game sense to realize that when you're messing up your teammates, you need to try doing something differently. That's an example of a person playing poorly and directly affecting me because of their poor play. That's right, I hate that fucking combo. Adept rolling is actually pretty good in this particular hunt because you can roll through the roar, which is actually designed to be part of a combo with this monster. He flinches you with a roar, and then charges you before you can resist the roar, or rather, get over the raw flinch. I'm a bit concerned by the fact that you are seemingly magnetized to me right now. Can you fuck off? Well, of course they haven't properly processed their mistakes. That would be the obvious reason as to why they continue to do it. I mean, that would be... You know, that's sort of like... Why is there water pouring on the ground? Because I've upturned the glass with water in it, you know? That would be the obvious situation. They haven't processed the fact that they've made a mistake, but at the end of the day... Oh, see, I'm being comboed here. Moxie saved me. Oh no, Moxie wouldn't have saved me because I've died already, so... Unless... Do you keep your food skills in this game after death? Is that actually what happens? So I suppose foodie isn't a thing now. I'm only hunter rank 930 whatever, and I only just realised that. I don't know, is that true? Can you die and still retain all your food skills? I suppose so. That's very weird. I didn't realise that. That shouldn't be the case. I don't know why they would change that. I won't complain, I get... Oh, that's a... failed mount. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have brought this particular loadout to Bloodbath. But yeah, the point is that people aren't very observant sometimes when they're hunting. They're so focused on their own experience that if they're fucking up the entire team, they won't even notice. They're just aggressively attacking the monster and don't seem to care. But what people need to realise is that they're playing a team-based game. It's not just about you and your experience, it's about the team experience. And if to enjoy yourself, you're actually compromising the enjoyment of others, it means one of two things. You change what you're doing, or you go and play a different fucking game. That's really how it works. Now, keep in mind, I do have Evade Extender, and that's still not good enough to evade some of the stuff that this monster does. It's got a bit of a thing for me, too. I'll have to come in here with Sneak next time. That is, of course, a joke. See, the problem with this, again, I've talked about this, this was something that really pissed me off when I first played 4th Gen, when 4 Ultimate came out. The verticality of this, see, if I need to roll away from a monster, I'm climbing this thing instead. If this happens to be here, well, I need to evade a monster, I'm climbing that instead. And that can get me hit. The same can be said for when I'm automatically jumping off something when I need iframes. Like if I'm trying to do a Superman dive, but I accidentally jump off something instead because it just happens to be there in that moment, then I get hit because I don't have iframes. That is one of the downsides to verticality in maps, and that was abundantly clear when I played 4 Ultimate for the first time, but I still feel like it was a good change to add verticality to maps. The idea that you can jump off things to achieve mounts, I felt like it added dynamics to the game that needed to be there, but it invited new challenges, and you know, things that you didn't have to previously worry about, like, oh, I can't evade right now because I'm in mid-air, and I didn't even want to be in mid-air, or I can't evade right now because I'm auto-climbing this thing that I didn't expect to be there. But whether or not that encourages a person to more carefully observe their surroundings, I don't know. Like, I suppose that would be the obvious solution to that, but the problem is that you're watching the damn monster. If you're in a moment when you need to get the hell out of the way of the monster as soon as possible, you're not looking around for possible things that you're going to jump off automatically or climb automatically. You're trying to get the hell out of there. So, I don't know. But again, it's a necessary evil, I suppose. I'm not about to say that verticality in Monster Hunter should never have been implemented. I'm a purist, but I'm not that bad. Although I'm sure there are some people who don't like verticality in Monster Hunter. Obviously they did fuck up the... that was pretty funny to watch. He actually successfully teleported to the back of the monster before being thrown off. That was pretty funny to watch. But yeah, they did fuck up the whole mounting thing initially, and for Ultimate they made it way too easy, but that's a conversation for another day. What's my absolute favourite and strongest weapon? I don't really have an absolute favourite weapon, because the thing is, the best thing about weapon types, the best thing about learning how to play Monster Hunter is learning what weapon type is best for a particular situation. So therefore, it is situational, and it is an evaluative matter as far as what weapon you use at any given time. But as far as what's most comfortable across the board, I'd probably say Sword and Shield. I also very much love Greatsword, but there are certain quests that I wouldn't do Greatsword with, and certain quests that I wouldn't do Sword and Shield with. But I'm also a big fan of bowguns and bows and ranged weaponry in general. Do they want to go for a capture? Oh, he might fall into the trap. He was very close to doing so. I can't keep up with what's going on with this monster. But yeah, the point is that a weapon is really only as good as the degree to which it is appropriate for the hunt that you're using it on. So, you know, as much as I love Sword and Shield, I don't really want to use it with a monster that I can only hit the feet of, because it's a, you know, a tall standing monster like Deviljho, and his feet are not the weak point. In the case of Deviljho, you want to be aiming for the stomach, so you'd be better off going with a lance or a greatsword or something that can hit high. Whereas dual blades and Sword and Shield, not as nice. In theory it's fine because you can attack the legs, which obviously promotes knockdowns, but which therefore can allow you to hit the weak point, but still I don't really like that process. I'd rather be hitting the weak point from the beginning rather than getting build up on something that's not a weak point so that I may hit a weak point. There are certain hunts where it's just like that normally. Let's say Chameleos, for example, where you attack the back legs, which aren't a weak point, to get the flinch that will allow you to hit the head. But I wouldn't like to have to do that for a whole weapon type whenever I'm fighting a monster that has a weak point that's out of my reach. But then people will say, well, use aerial Doomlink. Well, fair enough. Everyone's got their own preference. I'm not an aerial guy. I don't really want to be flying around through the air when I'm hunting. It's a bit too anime for me. Well, I wasn't even thinking of you making that recommendation, Vernon, but yeah, of course the obvious solution to lack of verticality with, or lack of vertical reach, I should say, with the Sword and Shield would be to just go flying through the air anyway. But the thing is with aerial, it's not like you're going to be hitting the stomach of a Deviljho with aerial. You're going to jump even higher than that. You're going to be hitting the back instead. But I suppose you could maybe reach the stomach if you were good enough with aerial, but I'm not sure about that. P3 turn. Rightio. I don't need a turn anyway. That's not to suggest that I was skipped, but sort of felt like it would have been my turn by now. I've been in this room for so damn long. That's why turns rooms are so terribly inefficient. The only reason why you should ever join a turns room is if you need to do a quest that you're just never going to get a room for. But it's not that hard to get a room in this game. I've talked about that time and time again. Just make a room, and you'll get people joining it who have nothing better to do. And you'll have your quest done. You don't have to do 3 other people's quests before doing your own. That's so inefficient. It can be efficient in a way, because you end up getting materials from monsters that you may need materials for in the future, or materials from in the future. But at this stage you have no way of knowing if you'll need them. But again, if you want to be time efficient, God, turns rooms are terrible. If you want something specific and you, like, let's say you want to fight that same monster 3 times, that's going to take so long to fight that monster 3 times because you have to wait for your turn. What a waste. I understand the theory of turns rooms, but I never used them really for myself. And I mean, I never had a problem. I found that, you know, sitting in a room for 5 to 10 minutes would give me a group of 4. Seriously. But some people don't want to wait for 5 to 10 minutes, which is fine. They can sit there and be inefficient, I guess. Lavazioth. I'll go water bow, water pierce bow. Whatever that ends up being. I have to go dig through my bows now. I don't know exactly which one. Oh, I know which one it is. Is it load up though? It's the Ludroth bow. Droth Dimion. Let's see if it's load up. No, it's... well, I could use load up with it, but I don't need to. So I will not. Alright. And I'll join up on the quest so that they know that I'm coming. Otherwise they won't know. They'll start saying my name with a question mark. Because if they didn't do that, then I'd never come, of course. Makes a big difference. And looking for Exchanger, obviously. Well, Defender High it is. No Exchanger for me today. And we should be good to go. Thank you for your patience, group. At least it's not Hyper Lavazioth. I'm not a Lavazioth fan. I don't think anyone's a Lavazioth fan. It's like finding a person who actually enjoys... well, actually, some people would enjoy fighting Kirin, I suppose. What's a monster that literally everyone hates? Well, I don't know. Lavazioth is one of the monsters that comes to mind immediately. He's just awful. Plesioth, there you go. It's hard to find someone who likes to hunt Plesioth. No one likes a Plesioth. The Piscine Wyverns in general are just awful. It's unsurprising that the most hated monster in the series, Plesioth, basically, that his monster type, his skeleton, would, I suppose, ultimately be terrible on its own. I'll go away. I'm used to, when I'm going Pierce Water, I'm used to using Eraser, which is the Terra Shogun Senator bow from Freedom Unite. That's not to suggest that I use that in this game, it's to suggest that I'm usually fighting the Lavazioth in Freedom Unite. The hunt is almost unchanged, actually. Same location, same moveset from the monster, and it sucks. Oh yeah. Well, you're right about Plesioth being a better monster than Duratotus. Duratotus is a nothing monster. But I say that in the context of World, not Rise. He was improved upon in Rise. Oh, that was a very funny knockdown. He was ready to flop in my direction, and then started flopping in a stationary position, because he was flinched. He flopped into... basically, he pre-flopped, and then proceeded to be flinched. Flopping fish monster. All Duratotus was a way to get an extra monster with the least amount of effort. And they only brought him back in Rise because they wanted to say, hey look, we actually took this monster seriously. He's a real part of the series, guys. But he really was just a last-minute reskin of Lavazioth, that's all he was. It was so blindingly obvious. I will never forget when World was new, and everyone was going on about how Uragan was a Radoban reskin. I think it was at that moment when I was like, yeah, this community can fuck right off. I'm not interested in you people, and I will not associate with you. I was done at that point. Uragan's just a Radoban reskin. You ignorant fuckers. It's fine to be completely and utterly ignorant, but it is annoying. It's just, all it really showed for me was that they don't look back in the series, they don't try to see where it all came from. It's all about the current game. I'm assuming he went down there, yeah. He really only has 2 areas that he goes to. I don't know why I'm standing still, being confused as to where to go. This is one of the monsters that you almost cannot lose on the map. Although I will say that sometimes he does weird shit in 2nd gen. As far as going back and forth. Like he'll start swimming around in the lava and you don't know where the hell he is. But yeah, he's always in one of 2 places. Hey, Jonathan. No, Lavazioth was not done better in World. Lavazioth was a crap monster in World. He's less annoying in World, but he's more dynamic in this game, quite frankly. And in all the games before World. They did a better job at making an annoying flopping fish monster. I mean, the flop check that exists in this game, I call the flop check is basically where he flops on the ground, spins around, and goes into a hip check. I mean, that's fucking cool. You couldn't even do that in World because they want the game to be too realistic. It was all about hyper-realism in World. So, you know, you're not going to have a flop check in World. But, yeah. Lavazioth was a very dynamic monster in the older games, and quite frankly, I found that to be better and more Monster Hunter-esque as compared to the so-called modern Lavazioth. But yeah, the older version was definitely more annoying. Well, what era are we talking about, Jonathan? Are we talking like 1300s or later than that? Or earlier than that even? I think by the time you get into the 13th and 12th century, I think then it starts to become illegible entirely. Because it's a different alphabet, and then as well as that, it's just completely different. Huntress has left the hub. Okay, well, it's just as well. I didn't really want to turn, but, well, I guess the room's still up. We've got Vylege with the Achtung! Achtung Blick! Achtung Blick! Eisenherz! I'm not German, in case you didn't know. Oh, well, thank you very much, Pablo. I have not eaten today. I certainly have not. Usually when I record in the mornings, I haven't eaten yet. Keeps me on my toes, you know. But that would be very nice of you. Thank you. That Umbra guy has got a very creepy helmet on. Oh, oh, sorry, you said it was my turn. Skip. After all the leaving and talking, I mean, Daz said it was my turn fairly early on, like as soon as we returned from the quest, but so much had been sent through the chat that I hadn't seen it. It had been buried. So, yeah, skip my turn. Go for it, Daz. Well, the problem, Pablo, is that I'm not paid instantly through Twitch, and Twitch is... yeah. The only way for it to be instant would be if, yeah, there is that. I do have a specific PayPal link. I'd have to find it. I'll send that through the chat then. I'd go out and get the food, I wouldn't get it delivered, but... yeah. No, whatever 12 Australian dollars is in your currency would be fine. But thank you for that. I will get that link. I'll have to go through my older videos for it. But I should be able to find it fairly easily. God, it's further back than I thought. Bloody hell. That should be it. Sort of holding up the group here. What's my favourite food? That would be Italian food. Just make sure that works in the chat. Yeah, of course, any and all donations are absolutely appreciated. Okay, let's... actually, no, I'm not doing Snow Baron G5, sorry. Sorry about that. He's probably thinking that I was really... I was having a moment of deep consideration as to whether or not I would do the hunt, and I eventually decided not to. But in reality, I was doing something else, and then I actually comprehended what was on the board, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that crap. No way in hell. But yeah, I love Italian food. I sort of grew up liking Italian food, so that's what I like. I suppose if I had to choose a favourite, it would be that. A specific type of Italian dish, I would probably struggle to name one, but... you know, a favourite. I very much like cannelloni, and gnocchi's very nice. But the gnocchi needs to be done well. It needs to be very, very soft and springy. But yeah, I'm not really a foodie. If it fills my stomach and it tastes reasonably nice, I'm happy. Oh, 19th century. Jeez. Well, I don't have too much difficulty understanding 19th century English. I guess there are a few little things here and there that are very archaic, and the thing is, archaic English can be a bit confusing. There are words that have changed in the way in which they're used. Like, let's say, for example, the era in which we live currently used to be called the vulgar era. But the meaning of the word vulgar began to change, and because of its negative association, they started to call it, you know, other things. So, the vulgar era is basically after Christ's birth. It's now called Anno Domini, of course. But it was called the vulgar era for a period of time, but because of the way in which that word changed, the way in which the era in which we currently live was changed quite drastically, so... yeah, the change of language is interesting. And it's also interesting to look at the history of language. Certain words that have gone terribly out of fashion. For instance, I'm going to get off this subject soon and start hunting, but you've got me on a subject now. I'll leave this as the last example, but the word secret actually used to be something of a verb, like to secret. That evolved into what is today called secrete. Now, secrete does indeed have the meaning of, you know, like if I cut myself, I will secrete blood. But as an example of the usage of the term, but actually secrete it's a polysemous term that can also mean to hide, to secret yourself, but secrete. It evolved, basically, because secret used to also work as a verb, but now it's secrete. So I could secrete myself from you by turning off the webcam. So, yeah. English has changed a lot. And it continues to change. It's changed enough in my lifetime. High rank Silver Rathalos. See, this guy... I don't know about that, man. I was talking about how I would recommend a person to just make a room for whatever they wanted to hunt, but a high rank Silver Rathalos, that's a bit specific. I don't know about that. He might have a hard time getting people. I had better refresh the search here. Thank you very much, Pablo. I appreciate that. I'll just confirm that I received it. Which I should be able to do. Just a quick email check. For your peace of mind as well, no doubt. Notification of donation received. It ended up being 20 Australian dollars. Thank you very much, Pablo. I very much appreciate that. Oh, it's Ren again. Unable to enter hub. Why? Has he blocked me? He might have blocked me. Wow. Unless... he must have blocked me. I wonder what I did that would have pissed him off so much that he decided to block me. Wow. That's quite extreme. He actually blocked me. I mean, I don't know if any of you were here. I think only Exio was here, watching me play with this particular guy, but he actually blocked me. I've never tried to join a room and have it say unable to join hub. And because I've played with him before, it obviously means that he's blocked me, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how many people he thinks are playing this game right now, but I'm not worth blocking, I can tell you that. I didn't do anything. It must have been because I was saying thanks every time he pinged to get people to Farcast. The joke being, of course, that we all knew that we needed to Farcast. And he was pinging every single time to Farcast. So every single time he pinged, I said thanks, lol. So, just to sort of make it very clear that it was totally unnecessary that he was pinging. But, anyway. I was technically talisman farming, but in actual fact I was grinding HRP in the quest that is used to farm talismans, yeah. Devious Deviants, very funny. Well, I don't trust that you would pose... oh, well, no, I'm not joining that room. There's the turns room with Daz that I left for very good reason. I wasn't doing Snow Baron again. Farming... I saw that room. Welcome. Yeah, I'll join that. I feel welcome, so I will do it. I do use OBS to stream. It sort of works. It's very... I would happily pay for software that is more reliable, but I haven't found anything that's worth spending money on. I haven't really looked, admittedly. But I think some broadcasting software is a bit overpriced. You know, I'd be happy to pay something. If it were a difference between free software and at least paying, I don't know, $50 for it, I'd take the $50 one. But I'm not going to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for some fucking broadcasting software. I know that those exist. I'm not going to get those, but... yeah, OBS, look, I'd say for what it is, for the fact that it's free and open source, it's pretty good, but... if I were to look at it on its own, it's a pile of flaming garbage. No, okay, that's a bit... it's a bit unfair. I wouldn't say that. Well... I mean, everyone reserves the right to block people at their leisure, but... yeah, I think it's pretty funny that that guy blocked me. It's a shame. I mean, I would have liked to have joined that room. I mean, he's sitting there alone I'm sure he'll get people, but yeah, could have had an assistant in me, but he's gone and blocked me, so oh well. I'm not sure what you mean by setting up a mic filter. Is it a digital filter? Mic filter? Oh, I understand. Filter in the context of the broadcasting software. So you want to set up a... Oh, I see. That's what you mean by filter. Well, what do you want to do? You want to set up compression? The idea being that you're going to, in real time... Or you could also set up equalization, I suppose. I don't really have tips on how to set it up. Just, if you want to set it up, download... what you're talking about are actually plugins. That is the audio term for what you've just said. So rather than filter, you call it filter, I guess, in OBS software, but it's a plugin. And plugins can be used across all sorts of software. But if you download... Refear, I think it's called. Oh, way too much ambient noise? That's okay. What you can do... Find the plugins linked to Refear. I think Refear is the compressor, if I remember correctly. It could be the equalizer. I don't remember now. But anyway, just search for that plugin, Refear plugin, search that. And then download the compressor and the equalizer. The equalizer? I don't really want to explain how to use it. What you can do is search subtractive EQ. Search, you can, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to search on YouTube for a tutorial on how to implement subtractive EQ with the equalizer to get rid of the ambient noise that you're talking about. What it does is I don't really want to go into the explanation, but that'll sort out the ambient noise issue. And then I'd recommend doing a little bit of compression as well, just to ensure that you're nice and loud, and that, you know, if you speak quietly, it'll boost it up, and if you're too loud, it'll lower the volume. It'll attenuate, which is the audio term. But yeah. In terms of compression settings, just search online for good ratios for... good settings and ratios for the voice, because compression wildly changes depending on what you're compressing, whether it's a human voice or an instrument of some kind or whatever. And, you know, there you go. He really has blocked me, hasn't he? So he's sitting in this hub alone. He's probably blocked everyone that could have possibly joined him. Which is probably not the most efficient way to get a group, but anyway, it's not exactly conducive to an easy hunt. I've played with Choctaling before. I've played with him many times before. Choctaling, oh here we go. See, now I'm used to that. I'm used to the consoles not responding, and then for that reason I can't join. Post your EX/G5. Prosciutto, Paragon, and SAS. Interesting. Turns. Oh, Dread Queen G2, I can live with that. Okay, well, dogs and gunshots are not gonna work with subtractive EQ. You're not gonna be... If you were able to successfully subtract the frequencies caused by a loud dog bark from your microphone volume, your sound quality is gonna sound like shit. It's gonna be... You're gonna sound like you're underwater or something. So don't be doing that. For something like cars, which is an ambient, almost constant noise with a consistent frequency, that's fine. But yeah, things like mic noise and even hum or things like that, that's what you use subtractive EQ for. You're not gonna... It's not some magic thing that's gonna catch a dog bark and no one's ever gonna hear it. You could indeed successfully cut it out, but it would be at the expense of the sound quality of your microphone, so... Yeah, don't be doing that. So, Dread Queen. Thunder or Dragon for Dread Queen? I think it would be Thunder. Usually they swap the primary and secondary weaknesses. Dread Queen. It is Dragon, okay. I stand corrected. I guess I'll do... Let's do Lance, could be fun. Unless I have a blunt Dragon Lance option. I might, actually. I likely do have a blunt Dragon Lance option. Let's go and equip that, shall we? It should be the Fatalis Lance. I apologise for having taken so damn long to get into a hunt here. It must have been a period of about 20 minutes where I was not hunting anything. It's what happens sometimes. I got on a subject, and as well as that, I had difficulty finding a decent room. I will not look for Exchanger, at least not... I'm not going to look through all of the food options to get Exchanger, because these people have waited long enough for me to get here. Alright. I will need to buy some ammunition at some point. But yeah, there are some good free plugins. The Reaper plugins are pretty good, so just download those and you should be more or less set up for real-time audio editing. As far as... oh, I know where they're fighting, huh? I'll go this way to get there. I'll go this way. It looks really weird. I mean, it does not look like I'm going to get there by going this way, but I will. The map is just weirdly designed. In this particular part. I managed to just avoid that. That was lucky of me. Now this poison crap, there seem to be a... oh, I see. So it is only if you're in range of it. That's pretty cool. Let's say that's cooler than anything Dread King does. I like Dread Queen, she's pretty cool. I'm not even remotely familiar with how she operates, but I'll try not to do anything really stupid. I'm in a bit of a Lance mood. You've probably noticed it by now, but I'm always picking up Lance for weird things. Yeah, I haven't played Stories 2 either. I don't know when I plan to play it. Probably never. I just don't have... I have no drive to play it. It's probably a perfectly fine game, but I don't have an issue with it. The thing is, I wouldn't trust the community of this series right now and their evaluation of the game. I just wouldn't trust it. So if everyone's liking it, that means nothing to me. Because they all like 5th gen and I don't. So there's no point in taking their opinion seriously. I should not have attacked 3 times. I don't know why I did that. I actually attacked 3 times and expected to counter there. I don't know what was going on in my head. This is not double poison, this is triple poison. This is fucking red poison. It's terrible. I'm gonna die from this shit. It doesn't last very long, but god, it hurts. I call it triple poison because, you know, double poison was always that more pink coloured, that pinkish purple, as opposed to the violet. And, yeah, that was usually from, I guess, the G-rank poison monsters. But that's even stronger poison, so I'll call that triple poison. I never would have expected that with a lance I'd be flinching a fucking switch axe guy, that's new. That's definitely new. And the monster is already limping. And I think most of that was without. Oh, look at the damage of this fucking thing. This is off the charts. Almost 380 raw damage with 50 dragon. This thing is an absolute titan of a weapon. With bludgeoner, that is to say. But bloody hell, that's really good. I'm sorry to hear that all the streamers that you watch play it every day. I mean, if they genuinely enjoy it, that's fine, but if they're doing it for the audience, then... ew. Again, sometimes it's hard to know what people do out of genuine personal enjoyment and then what they do for the audience. It's usually a mixture of those two things. Any person who's willing to play something they don't like for the audience really needs to reevaluate their life. But, you know, people who genuinely like what they're doing and are incentivized to record it more often because of the viewership that they get, that's fine. I can appreciate that. I'm gonna do a fucking wake up hit, if you can forgive me. I'm glad it wasn't you to do the wake up, man. Wouldn't have been that good of a... Oh, I see, it's a double quest. That's why it was over so quickly. I understand. But yeah, Choctaling. That wouldn't have been as good of a wake up hit. Because that axe burst attack is a multifaceted sort of attack. Multifarious. In the sense that it's doesn't just deal all of its damage in one moment. In one particular attack. It's spaced out across several individual impacts. So not good for a wake-up hit, in other words. I read that very differently, Exio. I just read that as I want to have my own baby. Which, you know, fine. As you do. But no, apparently you want your own baby Bracky, which is fair. Hell no, I don't want no fucking kids. Fuck them kids. Fair enough. I'm in two minds on that matter. I don't want to have children. But if I do, then so be it. Almost got corkscrew jab charged up. I don't know what's going on. Oh, fucking hell. So, interestingly enough, in this hunt, if you succeed in avoiding the tail flip, oh, you're still getting poisoned. How funny is that? It's funny, but not so funny. Funny, but bloody annoying. Enrage gun. Please, please. Good, good. That's maximum damage right there. Because it's red. Red is hot. Red is lots of damage. I was worried that I'd done the Hunter Art too soon, and that I was going to run out of it before she actually did the attack. Fortunately not. I'm quite happy that that was not the case. That very much worked in my favour. A bit worried about Choctaling. I want to get away from him, he's going to fuck me up. That worked in my favour though, that particular flinch. I was getting ready for a counter, but I had been flinched in that moment. But, you know, it still worked in my favour. Sometimes it's necessary to counter the wind pressure as well. Try and stay away from that poison. I'm not going to be able to get Corkscrew Jab out fast enough. See, I can't attack this head with Choctaling here. His axe is swinging all over the fucking place. It's not his fault. It's his weapon. But, you know. I'd like to be thrusting into this monster's head. What can I say? I was a bit late on countering the wind press there. That's fine. Oh, now we're double poison, I guess. That would be the appropriate colour for double poison. I can only assume that Corkscrew Jab and Enraged Guard stack in terms of damage. And if I'm correct in saying that, that would have been a lot of fucking damage right there. Especially considering the damage this weapon's doing on its own. Again. Oh, 417 raw with 50 fucking attack. What that must mean is that Enraged Guard actually shows its damage boost on the status screen, which is great. That's fucking excellent. I really wasn't expecting it to do that. That's amazing. Because I haven't been buffed by anyone, so... yeah, that's obviously what's going on there. It's fucking good. Pretty good hunt, overall. It's nice to get some use out of the old Fatalis Lances. I'm using the Crimson and the Black Lance for my Bludgeoner stuff. I just wouldn't use it with Sharpness +2. It's not really worth it. There are better Lances for those use case scenarios, I feel. In other words, Dragon and Blast, but for Bludgeoner, in other words, Blunt. They work very nicely. Okay. Is this a Dread Queen room? No, it's a Turns room. Okay. I couldn't really remember what the room was. I just joined something that seemed appropriate at the time. I will keep this recording to 2 hours, by the way. I do have things to take care of. Exchanger. Very good. Alright, catch you later, Vernon. Almost at 9:35. It'd be nice to know what we were doing, Kay. Unless he doesn't even realise that he needs to pose. Much like me, except the difference is that he probably wants something to hunt, or wants to hunt something, rather. I don't know what would be in your box that would... Choctaling, it's been quite clearly laid out. The pass, says Kay. You've joined a Turns room at Hunter rank 107, and you're going to pass. It's looking like a one-man show, because I think Choctaling and myself will pass. So, that's pretty funny. Amelia has succeeded in hosting a turns room where only she will have her quests done, which is pretty funny. Unless Choctaling actually wants to post something, we'll see. I can't get you in here. I'm not the host, I regret to say. Choctaling is not really paying attention to what's going on. Well, I don't know, you might need Event White Fatalis. I couldn't say for sure. Choctaling, what are you doing, man? I have an excuse when I'm not paying attention. I'm doing a live stream. I don't know what you're doing. Not paying attention is what you're doing. Who pick? You can pick. You can. Amelia is very, very hesitant to, or not. The Hunter Rank 999 doesn't want to give Amelia the opportunity to just post her own quests. Bloodbath G1, eat my ass, man. I've just done Bloodbath. No thank you. Still blocked. Look at this guy. I mean, he's been sitting in this room for so long. Whatever. Bad luck for him. Send by. Okay. Rightio. Guden. Charm Farm. Well, that would be the less. I would guarantee this guy has blocked every prospective gunner that would enter his room. I would guarantee it. That's hilarious, but sad at the same time. I don't know what this guy's doing, let's find out. I do not listen to Opeth, unless I wanted to fall asleep. And not for the right reasons. I'm not against them, but... no. Opeth. No. I'm sure they bring something unique and special to the table, but it's been carefully concealed from public view, I can tell you that. I hope it's not Barrioth flavoured. Well, I don't particularly want to do Barrioth, but... that's what I have, that's what I've been dealt today, so I'll do it. Charge Blade. I feel like every time I use Charge Blade, I end up needing to use this Charge Blade because it's always a monster that's weak to fire, so... I suppose I can use I could use a raw Charge Blade, I do have one. Only recently made it, but you know. Where is it? I thought I had one. Did I not make it? I was quite sure that I did. Apparently I didn't make the Diablo's Charge Blade. I thought I did. I thought I made it somewhat recently. I must be getting confused with a different weapon that I made. I must have made a Diablo's weapon. Maybe it was... no, it wasn't you. What would it have been then? I'm quite sure that I made that. Maybe I didn't end up saving or something. I'm pretty sure that I can make the Diablo's Charge Blade from scratch. Check this out. I'm even going to equip it because I'm pretty fucking confident that I've got everything I need. Use the Kynes. There you go. I'm assuming it's Kyne and not Chine. There you go. Serra Sediment done. Anyway. I'm pretty sure I made it in the past. And I guess I didn't save. But yeah, I'm doing this because I don't want to use a fire charge blade right now. Hello, potato. There's a lot of high-ranked people hanging around these days. I suppose purely because I would guarantee all the people who played a lot of this game before Rise came out have just come back. I'm assuming that's how it works. I'm assuming that's the reason why there's a lot of high-ranked people around. That's what happens, unfortunately. I came back sooner than all of them, though. Well, the Jaggy head's in this game. I assumed that it wouldn't be, given that the Great Jaggy's not in the game, but apparently it's still here. That's a bit weird. Okay, let's depart. But yeah, it took me like 5 days, 5 to 7 days to never play Rise ever again. So I was back here pretty quickly. Any idea on when we'd be able to play World at War, Potato? Or are you going to be away from home for quite some time? Not that I would blame you for being at home. I understand why, but I'd just like to know. Okay, so the non-hyper quest is actually in the Snowy Mountains, which is weird. Where the hell does he start? He does start up here. It's very weird, though. Feels weird using this charge blade. I so often see other people use it, but I never have. So, here I am. It only took me until Hunter rank 935 to make the bloody thing. That's not because I couldn't make it, it's because I just didn't care to make it. I don't use Charge Blade all that often, so I was quite happy to just use the elemental Charge Blades that I'd made quite some time ago. I made the elemental Charge Blades fairly early on. I was using Charge Blade properly for the first time in this game, and I was doing it while going through the early part of G-Rank, so therefore Charge Blade, I believe it was Charge Blade and Switch Axe, because I wanted to do something different, of course, were the first two weapon types that I was making elemental weapons for. That's what I recall. And then I think I might have moved to Lance after that. That sounds about right. And while I was trying to make Lance, I had to take some time away from the game because I needed Grand Tokka for my mixed set that I was going to make. And I just could not for the life of me work out how to make, or how to even access the quest that would unlock Grand Tokka. It was so confusing, and I had to take some time away from the game because it was really pissing me off. So... yeah. Oh, whoops, that was terrible what I just did. I did not mean to do that. Let me get Red Shield now. Can't believe I did that. Generation's Ultimate Charge Blade is unfortunately the very worst version of Charge Blade. By far. The reason why is because it's actually glitched. AEDs only deal 1 file's worth of damage. So, it's actually pretty bad. But it was pretty good in 4 Ultimate, and as I understand it was good in World, but yeah. I do like the sword. I like it's a sort of 2-pronged sword. It looks like a mini Sarah Symmetry, which is really cool. I love the fact that they did that. Or mini King Atalat sword, depending on which name you're used to. It's called King Atalat back in... well, actually, this is a good time to do it. They're going to do 1 file's worth of damage anyway. And then I can rip a shield after getting Red Shield again. Or I could just use Energy Blade and then Rip a shield to get that back. That could be fun. Nice knockdown. And then rip a shield on the face. That works rather well, doesn't it? It's a lot of damage in a short space of time, and unsurprisingly, the monster's fucking dead after that. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to see that at all. Yeah, it plays perfectly fine, but unfortunately it is, functionally speaking, if you compare it to the other versions of Charge Blade, this is by far the worst. And I honestly wish that you could get the full benefits of Artillery Expert as well, but I think it's been the same in all of the games. Artillery Expert doesn't do anything. Artillery Novice, on the other hand, does do something more. Artillery Expert does actually technically boost the damage of Charge Blade with impact files, but it's such a tiny increase. It's just this tiny increase that is not worth having Artillery Expert to receive. Whereas the boost from Artillery Novice is actually considerable. Hello, Moonglow. But yeah, that was a good first hunt with the Sarah, whatever the hell this thing's called. Sarah something or other. I'll probably do like 2 more hunts. It depends how fast they go. If they're as fast as that, I'll end up doing 3 or 4 more hunts, but yeah. Well done though. Okay. I'm not sure what this room objective even is. I couldn't possibly know. I believe that's the standard hub name, like the default one. And I guess he's just going to hope that he can post whatever he wants and we'll do it. Which is somewhat true, but I will say that if it's something that I don't want to do, I will leave the room. So, yeah. But at the very least, he's the only one who's really going to be posting. This isn't really the community where people should be given opportunities like these to just post whatever they want and some high-ranked people will clear it for them. These people are in desperate need of education in how to play Monster, and this is not the way to do it. Oh well. I mean, he personally might be fine. I don't know how he plays. He might play just fine, but I've come across a lot of people who are really bad. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on in 3 Ultimate at the moment. A lot of people joining that community and playing with the people who've been there for a while, and they're just being carried through to G rank. They haven't been told what to do, and they're doing all the wrong things, and it's a mess, really. Oh, if anyone wants to add this guy's QQ, you can. That's his QQ account right there. If you use the QQ thing. I technically have a QQ account, but that's only because it was required to play Monster Hunter Online, the Chinese, I was about to say spin-off. It's not really a spin-off. It's not a mainline game, but I wouldn't really call it a spin-off. I guess you could call it a spin-off technically. I feel a spin-off would be stories and the mobile games, whereas while that isn't mainline, I don't know what I'd call it. Sideline? I don't know. What would I use here? I could use ranged. I don't really want to do that though. Let's use Gunlands. No, I do want... No, actually... Let's do that. With the endgültige Wahrheit. Endgültige Wahrheit. I have to sound deeply displeased, otherwise it doesn't sound German enough. That's the point. You need to actually scowl when speaking German. It helps. None of this is really attractive. I'd like to get... Of course, it's... The one res that I'd actually get some use out of is the one that the chef's not fired up to make. Fuck that guy. I don't know who this chef is, but I don't trust him. He's useless. What's going on with this guy? I didn't need to be told twice to add your QQ or whatever. Don't know what his deal is, but he's very, very eager to have me add his QQ or something. I don't really want to 3-man this quest, but... Well, what I'll do is I'll wait about a minute. I don't understand moon runes. Well, geez. Ugh. Don't know why he's asking us to, you know, add his fucking QQ account. Go and ask your Chinese mates to add your QQ account. Well, look, man. We'll depart in a moment. Take it easy. Okay. Your impatience is duly noted. Again, didn't really want to 3-man this one, but sure. I'm not a fan of this quest. Oh, whoops. Trying to make mic adjustments here without displeasing your ears. I do like this island over here. You can't access this island immediately in DOS. You unlock it later on or something. Come on, hit him. Fortunately, that pushes me closer towards the chest, which is very nice. So damn close to hitting him, but not quite. The thing is, I don't mind using this set, given its lack of guard skills, because at the end of the day, I only have guard boost on my other set. I don't have guard plus in any way, or of any level. So, oh, what the hell is that? I was hit before I was hit. Oh, that's good. Actually was able to get that off. Don't mess with me, Permator. I'm not in need of that right now. Go in there and blast dash once it seems safe. It's not going to be safe, but really hoping I'd flinch him out of that. The problem with Gunlance is that when you're actually attacking with it, you can't really evade. You're stuck in whatever you're doing. It's one of those weapon types where you're absolutely committing to whatever you're doing in that moment, and you can't very well guard out of an attack. I'm not shelling with auto guard in Portal 3rd. Which, by the way, was ridiculous. For anyone who doesn't know. If you had auto guard in that game, you would always shield an attack while shelling. It was ridiculous. It is about time for me to sharpen. Sheathe and sharpen. We can say sheathe and sharpen, why not? That is part of the process that I'm undertaking. I'll keep the hell away. Or I can just leave it to the Pierce guy to be broken with his valor. I wouldn't comment on his valor, but I will comment on his lack of originality. Point being that he's not displaying any particular valor in using that style. Just explaining it for anyone who didn't pick up on that. Ugh. I will try to do Dragon Blast, or use Dragon Blast. Okay, I'll do that then. I know what's coming. I know it very well. Let's just do it now. Oh, that's not good. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about being knocked back while I'm doing that, which is good. I'm certainly happy to see that. I do have another Wyvern Fire at the ready, but I'll make sure that it's not going to be... Oh, I'm going to make sure that I don't miss it when I do it. I will wait for an opportunity. Hello, Autonomic. I won't be streaming for much longer. And I'll probably only do one today. We'll see. This is a Wyvern Fire opportunity. Oh, there is a truck in the street, but it's not really being picked up by the microphone, fortunately. At least not as much as past trucks. Trying to avoid all of this that's going on right now. Just keeping my shield raised. No, of course. I don't know if I've ever successfully mounted with a blast dash. It is a mounting attack, that is the effect that's appearing on the screen, but I don't think I've ever been able to mount through it. I'm sure it's possible, but I haven't experienced it. A mounting attack is a mounting attack. Do I start at purple with this thing? No, didn't think so. A tiny sliver of purple would have been nice, game. Really. Do I have... I don't have Sharpness +2 on this thing. Well, that's fine. No wonder I keep dropping to low sharpness levels really quickly. That is unfortunate. When you're using Gunlance, it is good to have sharpness skills. Don't have any here, though. Either Razor Sharp or Sharpness +2, or both, is very helpful with the Gunlance. I ensured that that screaming child is going to have to stop screaming, otherwise I'll give that child something to really scream about. Anyway, the Gunlance set that I had in 3 Ultimate needed to be changed to have sharpness skills. I don't know if I'll do the same with this, probably not, but I did recently update that. I mean, you've gone and placed a trap, but I don't know how committed to it you are, Ultimate. I'm not seeing much commitment here. I'll just fucking ignore it, honestly. I was happy to take that hit. And there goes that guy. Have to be very careful here. I wonder what my thunder resistance is. It's not great. I'm very much the same, Autonomic. I'd recommend you go and play it. I'm not for good reason, but yeah. You should definitely go and play it. I'll be going back there soon. Once I'm at 999 here, I shall do so. We do have a limping laggy. A lot of damage has been dealt. Most of it was through the bow gunning guy who is doing that. Don't know what he's achieving in shooting thunder shots off into the distance, but whatever. I do have a Wyvern Fire opportunity here. I'll ensure that I'm in the orange before doing it. I'm about to drop into the yellow. Just gonna shoot there. Hope he realizes what I'm doing. I could have gone into the red, I suppose. There you go. Quest over. He should be able to get here. If he can't get here in all that time, then he's got something wrong with him. I'll do one more hunt. I've decided that I'm going to try and get in the habit of pronouncing the name Lagiacruz. I usually say Lagiacruz. Or Lagiacruz. I'm going to say Lagiacruz. Because I think the C-R-U-S would be Cruz. That's how they've tried to put it across anyway. And that's my phone going off. I will not answer that call at this time. I will call back soon, however. But yeah, I believe it's Cruz, and the Japanese name is Ragiakurus. So, basically, that's Lagiacruz. So, that's how it is. And I think it is the sensible thing to do to try and have the English pronunciation correspond with the Japanese pronunciation. Yeah, a lot of people say Lagiacruz. That's kind of normal. Well. Interesting text. I don't know if I'm going to do my last hunt in this room. It depends what this guy posts. I am willing to join a different room to do one more hunt, I will tell you. But again, he might actually post something decent. The flight attendant may very well give me something of worth. Looks like he didn't. I don't know what I was expecting. The thing is, I get confused between him and the courier. The courier is the one who gives you all of those life powders. You actually have to go offline to get those. Every once in a while he'll give you a shitload of life powders. Basically, you have no reason not to bring life powders in this game. You're given an incredible number of them for free. Oh look, we finally got a fourth person. Luan 16 Noel. Okay. I'll just call you Noel. Yeah, I'm joking. I'll call you Luan. Luan! Loving the armor set though. I think that's the Chaos armor set, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Looks really good. I don't know if I prefer that to Shagodo. It is a bit more chaotic in appearance. Go on, man. You've got a free pass to post whatever. Oh. Well, yeah. Yeah, this Chinese guy's not going to let this guy post. No way. No way. I did encourage him to post anyway. Let's go, come on. He probably doesn't even know what he wants to do. This does not give you an opportunity to go and post yourself, Luan. You take it easy. He's finding something to post. Hello? If you don't have anything to post, let Luan post, seriously. If you have something you want to do, I don't mind doing it, but... yeah, it's a bit dysfunctional, anyway. You can just search it online, Exia. I'm sure there are pictures of the armor set online. There should be, absolutely. Otherwise you can get pings decked and check it there. It has the male and female armor sets for every single armor in the game. So, I mean, they're low-res images, but whatever. Hypergorma. Look, man, you didn't have anything to post. So, yeah, this guy's gonna post. Bugger off. I don't think I'll do Lance. There is a temptation to. Let's go Greatsword. It's a good way to finish up. Do I have a fire Greatsword? A blunt fire Greatsword is what I mean to say. I could use the legendary Garo sword because I don't find myself using it very often. I don't think I've got a fire raw Greatsword. Alright. Legendary Garo sword it is. This isn't my best fire greatsword, but it's just a cool looking greatsword, and I've probably only used it twice before. This could even be my second time using it now. The first time I used it was on camera. I made this weapon on camera. I was doing the event quest for it on camera. But I haven't really used it since. The reason why is because it is noticeably worse as compared with the Silver Athlos greatsword, but this looks cooler, so yeah, may as well use it. May as well get Exchanger while I'm here, if I can find it. If I can't find it, which it seems that I can't, then that's alright. Nothing's really jumping out at me here, so I'll just eat this. Eat this! Alright. This guy's got the Melling's tool. How about that? You don't see that in this game very much. It's usually Death Grip. Which is funny, it's sort of the opposite to what I'm used to. Back in 2nd gen, everyone used the Melling's tool and not the Genpray Sword and Shield. And in this game, it's the other way around. Which is fine, I think there's a good reason for that. I don't think the Genpray Sword and Shield was as good in 2nd gen. I don't seem to recall that. I don't remember how it was in 1st gen. Sorry, Dunai. We have departed without you. Oh, that's right, it glows green when you charge it. How fucking cool is that? Oh. Yummo. I'll have some of that. What a cool weapon. See, the event weapons, what I hate about the event weapons is that most of them just aren't as good as the other weapons you can get, but they are always cooler looking. So it really ends up being fashion over function with these weapons. I'm not going in there, I'll end up exiting the area accidentally. Come down. Bloody bastard. Transmog for weapons. I'm sure it will happen. I think they did have it for some game. What was it? I'm not sure. I'd like to get to the head, but... Well, this is my attempt at reaching the head. I'm going to hit the wing instead. Or even the arm. No, I mean like full transmog for weaponry. I'm assuming that's what he means too. That looked like it was going to be a mount for me, but it was not. What? Oh, it was Ultime who got the mount. But he missed it. He's going aerial something. Oh, aerial sword and shield is what he's using. I didn't even check to see what he was using. I was assuming that he was just using the... Oh, was he the one with Melling's tool? I see. I thought it was... See, I saw a guy with Melling's tool and I just assumed that it was Luan because... I assumed that Ultimate would continue using Heavy Pierce. Most of those people who use Heavy Pierce don't use anything else because they aren't comfortable playing the game unless they're absolutely shitting on everything they find. So, there you go. Has he fucked up the mount twice? He almost fucked it up twice. God. And when I say fucked up the mount, I mean like not even successfully getting on the back of the monster. I suppose for a 3-man hunt it would have been better to use the best greatsword that I had, but This is fine too. It'll do the trick. That's asleep, I guess? What is that? Oh, it's a pitfall trap. What the fuck? Didn't even see that go off. I'm not very observant today. Can I get Moonbreaker off? Yeah. And an immediate knockdown. Time to break the feelers. Well, it wasn't me who broke him. Couldn't get there fast enough. I will sharpen up. I know purple sharpness doesn't deal as much damage in this game, but it is still a great sword. I'll keep myself a purple. In other words, you attack less frequently, all your damage is more focused on single attacks, so you may as well have max damage for those attacks. That's the point. That is the point. No! Autonomic, I'm not talking about layered weapons or layered armor, I'm talking about you literally take any weapon and then you can make it look like any other weapon in its category. Unless that is what you're talking about. But if I am correct, that's what I mean when I say full transmog. I don't mean like, oh, there are certain things that you can transmog. That exists. Or is Exio confirming that yes, that's what he means? I don't know. But that was the purpose of the word full. It's not really full transmog if you can only transmog specific designs. Oh. Yeah. So Exio and I were on the same page. Autonomic, I'm not quite so sure. Well, he's mounting like this is fucking 4 ultimate. Practically. Almost got farted on. I'll tell you who did get farted on. Gormagala. I don't know if I'll be able to get this off. I will do my best. I did manage to get it off. It was down for a while at least. He's going for the capture. Shockingly, not capturable. It is a hyper, I suppose. If it were a regular one, he'd be long dead, but the reality is that Ultime is not really doing damage, he's getting paralysis build up. So he's fully reliant on myself and Luan, who's likely not doing much damage, to deal damage to a G-rank hyper monster, so he is overestimating the effectiveness of the team, without a doubt. I agree that it would be nice if we could capture in that time, but that's not what's happening, clearly. Vile Frenzy Crystal. We're talking about transmog autonomic, and so therefore we're discussing appearance. The weapon will retain its function, but will take on the appearance of something else. And that something else can be any other weapon that you own, as opposed to a specific layered weapon design that you've acquired through DLC or an event. I was about to shield that. So in Monster Underworld Iceborne you can take any weapon and make it look like any other weapon in its category. Okay. Good to know. I'm surprised, but good to know. It's just confusing because what layered armor was were specific armor sets that could be used as simple appearance armor that didn't actually give you skills or anything like that. Those were specific. So that was the confusion, it was the use of the term. I'm guessing that's the name of the system, but yeah. That is confusing. Whoa. He ended up there. It's a bit weird watching him dig down from that point. Sharpening up. Leave me alone. Don't you dare. Or you can go up there, that's fine too. No one's up there, so you can do whatever you want up there. Creepy black dragon thing. No, I'm not going to be able to get Brimstone Slash off in time. I don't know why Ultime thought it would be a good idea to go paralysis support with this team. I'm basically the only damage dealer. Managed to collect a mantle from that shiny. But yeah, I don't know what this guy was thinking. My guess is that he wasn't thinking. As I said in a recent video, if the question comes to mind, which is, what was this person thinking? The most likely answer is that they were not thinking. So that's the idea. There's another mount. I will have a chance to do Brimstone Slash. I'll do Moonbreaker as well. Be nice if this thing fucking died, or something. I'm happy with a capture at this point, or I would be happy with a capture. Generally I don't like capturing these monsters, but I think I've had my fill of this hunt. The sooner it's over and done with, the better. Is that a trap, or that's a paralysis? I remember somewhat recently, I mean it wasn't that recent, but I seem to remember it quite clearly. I remember watching a guy, I don't know what game it was in, might have been Portable Third. I watched a guy throw like 6 to 8 tranks at a paralyzed monster. It was really funny. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. First and foremost, the fact that the guy thought that by throwing more than 2 tranks at the monster that was going to somehow help, and then second of all, not realizing in all that time that the monster was actually paralyzed and not in the trap. It was really funny. But that's the kind of ignorance that you come across in this series. I think part of it is that people don't realize that throwing more than 2 tranks is unhelpful unless, you know, they start to wear off after a period of time. But all you need is 2 tranks to achieve a capture in most scenarios, and I think what happens is they don't realize that, throw 3 tranks, but what's actually happened is the monster has reached the damage threshold in the time that it's taken them to throw the 3rd trank, and so it looks like the 3rd trank is what did it, but actually it's not the case. So it's more like this placebo effect, so they just throw multiple tranks thinking that it helps, but it doesn't. How it works is that if you throw 2 tranks and then it takes a while for the monster to be captured after that point, then you might need to throw a 3rd to top it up, because they do wear off. Oh, didn't realise I had my weapon out. Standing there shielding. Like an idiot. May as well do a Moonbreaker on a dead monster. Why not? Look at his face. He's got a very ugly head, doesn't he? I'm reminded of that life-size Gormagala that they had in some amusement park in the US or something, back when 4 Ultimate came out. They went pretty hard on the advertisement for 4 Ultimate, and I think they did a reasonable job of bringing 3DS players to that game. This is my last hunt. You are quite correct. Oh. I don't know if I'll do another one today. Probably not. As in, another stream. I could, but my guess is I will not. Because I don't think I want to. I've got other things I'd like to do. Anyway, that was a reasonable recording. Had another one of those floods of activity in the chat which slowly dies down because they all leave without saying goodbye. That's kind of the streamer's life. Bunch of people to talk to and then they disappear, never to be seen again, and then I have to pretend like I'm emotionally attached to something. Which I don't. You know, if they appear and then disappear, I don't care. You can't care. That's the reality of it. Anyway, I do thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time I'm recording, and I don't know when that will be, but I hope to see you there. Bye bye for now.